Welcome back to Fantasy Football Weather Guys here on Halloween weekend. I'm your host, Colin Golzinski, with Dr. Mike Ventris and Sean Bratton, our on-staff meteorologists, where we are quantifying the weather risks in sports. Good morning, guys. How are you?
Oh, good morning and happy Halloween.
Mike, were you just Santa Claus right there? Did you check the holidays?
Well, hey, man, I get them all confused, right? There we go.
Well, that beats my joke because I was going to say we're not here to scare you this weekend, but we're here to just bring some potential impacts. But yeah, anyways, we got a Santa Claus and we got a Sean.
There we go. I'll be the jolly plump guy. That's fine with me.
Is anybody dressing up for Halloween this year?
You know, I was thinking about that, actually. I don't remember the last time. I think the last time I did was probably when I was with probably all of you guys back in the day.
Oh, man, it's been a while.
You,
Sometimes you like to wear your Jets hat, Mike, whatever that hat is, when you're feeling really high about the Jets, which probably isn't any time this year.
Sean, I don't think you need a mask, right? Is your face okay? Because it's scaring.
Yeah, there it is.
It's this right here. This is scary enough for most, so I'm just gonna go with it. Hey, it's my costume every day, right? I don't need to do anything.
You're a beautiful human being, Sean.
With the voice of an angel.
Voice of an angel.
Yeah, I was attempting to sing for my counterparts here before the show, and they were having none of it.
No, I mean, I said American Idol is about 17 steps away. So, okay. So
yeah, my wife, who is very much into music and is very musically inclined, I tried to sing to her, and I get a very similar response. So I guess American Idol may not be in the cards.
The important statement of this is your wife. It's not like you're trying to secure the relationship. You've already married her, so there's not much she can do. She's got to listen.
She's got to. That's it.
So anyways, back to why we're here. You know, the fall weather could be, you know, it's a very interesting time. You know, this is when the seasons are changing. Air's getting a little colder in the Northeast. It's going to get that fall chill. But we're going to see some potential, and we want to highlight the word potential impacts on 3 games this week. A very classic matchup, Pittsburgh at Cleveland. Then we're going to have the San Francisco at Chicago Bears, the win possibly coming off the lake. Probably I don't have the direction right, but they'll correct me. And then Miami at Bills, which, you know, used to be probably a coin toss, but this week, true Bills fan, I think whatever the weather is, Allen's going to come out slinging. So, Sean, why don't you kind of walk us through the forecast, and we'll start with Pittsburgh, Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm just going to wait for the weather map to come up here so we could kind of just look at the synoptic setup. What we have happening or occurring is we have an area of low pressure moving across the central United States, moving off to the northeast. This is on Saturday, so this is actually today. So, Mike, I'm going to have you go forward a few frames here, and you're going to see this system push off to the northeast. But then it looks like we have some precipitation on the back half or the back end of this occluded mid-latitude cyclone. And one of the phenomenons that we sometimes see is this wraparound precipitation. So over Buffalo, we may see some of the precipitation for the beginning of the game. Again, we don't expect this to be impactful or long-lasting. They may get 1/10 of an inch, and it's going to be very scattered in nature. But with this, as you see on the weather map here, there's going to be an area of high pressure moving into the central United States, extending northwest to southeast. And that's going to create really dry and really clear conditions over much of the United States. As you can see, this is essentially game time for most of the slate of games this week. And there's just not a lot occurring across the central interior United States for the games this week. But what this does set up is because you can see we have a really strong area of low pressure off to the northeast, and we have this high pressure moving in, wedging itself into the central United States. This is going to create a strong baroclinic or strong pressure gradient that's going to set up over.
Excuse me, what did you call me? Baroclinic. Oh. What is baroclinic?
It's essentially a very strong pressure gradient, right? So we have a high pressure and a low pressure right next to each other, and this is what fuels and energizes the winds.
Okay.
And so that's why we're concerned about this. Not really concerned. I wouldn't even say concerned. I would say it's something we're monitoring in Chicago and Cleveland, as we expect winds to be in the 15-20 mile an hour range with isolated higher gusts possible.
So wait, before we get to this wind map that I'm bringing up, I had a little weather trivia question I wanted to ask Colin. Colin is a guru at trivia.
Oh boy. Okay, let's
Colin,
go.
In the cold season, which we typically refer to as like late fall into winter, right?
Yep.
If there's high pressure, like what we're seeing in the maps here, I'm going to bring back this map here. This is high pressure coming in, 1025 millibar high.
Yeah.
Is it warmer than normal or colder than normal under such high pressure conditions in the cold season?
High pressure, I would say colder.
It is. Yes, you get these are some of these colder air masses that come out of the north, and that builds high pressure, comes out of the north. And
all I think about is when we get those Arctic blasts and it's like beautifully sunny, but negative 30 out in Albany.
Yeah. And I mean, in this instance here, like a lot of the mid-continental U.S. next week is going to see, I mean, this is Sunday, so there's more high pressure coming down. But we're going to see some of our first freezes out across a lot of the upper Midwest and Great Lakes, and even probably into the Northeast. So the cold air is coming. It's just a matter of time. Let's get back to football.
Well, Santa's coming then. Ho, 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 right, Mike?
That's what I mean. There was a tie there, right? It's a Halloweenish Santa.
So we got the wind map.
I'll never forget the time Mike opens up the Halloween show by saying ho, ho,
ho. For those who don't know,
I'm just calling you a ho, ho, ho show.
Whoa. Kids show. So family show. Well, never mind. I'm just going to go back to the wind.
Okay.
Yeah. So bringing up the wind on our weather map, you can see that the Bears Stadium does have a slight caution. Our table doesn't. So this is kind of we're watching, and I think that's important to watch. This could be impactful. It's really the gusts, right, that we're worried about here.
There will be some gusts. I mean, we were looking at some forecasts here, and it looks like there could be some values in the 25 mile an hour per range as far as gusts. But I mean, you got to think about the QBs that are in this game, and just generally the players, right? I mean, we have Jimmy Garoppolo, and then we have Justin Fields. I mean, I don't think anybody is number one starting them in either hometown or DFS. And nobody's really excited about looking at them as an option this week, regardless of weather. I think that just kind of adds to the argument of really staying away from these guys, especially if there is a potential for a weather component. I don't know what you do with the Bears right now. There's really no options there receiving QB other than Herbert, really, who's been
you put him on a
jet the last couple weeks.
You put him on the same plane as the Jets, and they're just flying to last place.
Hey man, we're gonna have such a badass pick next year. Our first.
I don't know. You're gonna be. I think
just like Zach Wilson, right, Mike?
I think
he's gonna mature into something amazing. Justin Fields is a flaw. He's gonna be a horrible. I think he's not gonna be well.
I think there's a
cold take it here, but whatever.
I think there's a horse race for the last place. So you got Jets, Houston, Giants.
It's not fun being a Jets fan.
Well,
and a Giants fan.
It's tough. I mean, that offensive line on the Bears just not giving him time. So I don't expect him to have time to even launch the ball deep, and I don't think the coaching staff has really a lot of confidence in him launching a lot of balls for big plays in this one. Especially Allen Robinson's not doing anything. Mooney is off kind of the board here. So I'm just, there's really not a lot to really speak of, in terms of fantasy. I'm playing Herbert in my fantasy league personally, because I think they're going to rely more on the run. And San Francisco is ranked 20th. They're giving over around 120 yards per game. So I think he's an upside play this week. But other than that, I'm steering away. And then you have Deebo Samuel, right? But you're starting him no matter what.
And speaking about this game, Sean, the over-under dropped 4 points almost since opening. Like, I think that I think betting on this, I think people are seeing this game could be kind of a dud. I don't think the wind or not, I just don't think this is going to be a high action game regardless.
Yeah. So I guess like whenever I look at these wind forecasts, I like to look at where the direction's coming out of, right? And as they typically do when you get these cold fronts and high pressure coming down, it's coming out of the northwest for Midwest out there into maybe more westerly in the Ohio Valley. The northwest wind, as it comes out, it funnels down. If you take a look at Soldier Field, it's generally, Colin, we don't have our compass out here. But what is the orientation of Soldier Field?
Well, I know this very well because I love going to visit Chicago. The stadium is almost true north and south.
Right, exactly. And you get a wind coming out of the northwest-west. That's more of a crosswind component. So that is something to take in factor here for the Chicago game. And then when you look at the Cleveland game here, it's more generally the winds are coming out of the due west here. You can see the little arrows out there telling you the wind direction on our weather map. So you look at First Energy Stadium, it's generally a west to east oriented field. So it's not really a crosswind event, but more of a parallel wind event. And in those events, for me at least, personally, I don't really take those as impactful, just because it's easier to throw a football with the wind than as it moves from
but
side
remember,
to
if
side.
you're throwing with the wind half the game, you're throwing against the wind the other half the game.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you can change your plan up and go a little bit more shorter on certain sides, but at least in this instance.
Yeah, and I don't think and I just the winds I don't think are going to be as even impactful as they are in Chicago. I mean, this is a very minimal, if at all. I mean, we're looking at 15, 18 miles an hour. But you got Case Keenum and Big Ben in there. Case Keenum couldn't launch it, back up. Although I don't know if Mayfield potential. I think he was questionable for this week, but he's got a lot of injuries right now that he's trying to play through. And so I don't see him getting a lot of.
He is in
this game.
He is in the starting lineup, Mayfield.
He
I
said,
don't know if he's.
yeah, right now it says he's cleared to play and will start versus Steelers 20 hours ago.
Well, right
Yeah,
now,
and I want to
like 42 points. So
I want to bring this up that our FFWeatherguys.com impact table actually has the starting lineups in there. So if you have any questions about who's in or who's not, always come back to this table here. You could get the weather forecast report, and you could actually see what the starting lineup is. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
That's a good point. And again, since we're talking about the weather impact table, I just want to talk a little bit more about it. You can also see there's three main components that we talk about what weather in a game, and it's the temperature, the wind, and precipitation. And if you see, they're all outlined in a color, and usually green means no impact. But if there were impacts, you would see what would be impacting. Like, let's say the wind was 20 miles an hour and that set off a caution, that would be an orange bar around it. So when you look at the impact and when you click on it, there's a little bit more information that you can get. Starting lineups, what is actually impacting the game, and so good thing to bring up, Mike.
Yeah.
So Miami Bills is the last game. You kind of talked about it a little bit, but I just want to bring it up that I think this is where I'm going to tell you what I'm doing in my DFS league. I think I'm gonna pull the curtains back a little bit.
All right.
I am going to pay for the Josh Allen, but I'm going to do Emmanuel Sanders stack. Diggs, as good as he is, it's just somehow now it's kind of that weird situation, not weird, but that classic situation where now you have two good receivers and your star gets the number one, cornerback. And this now has freed up Emmanuel Sanders and kind of revitalized this wide receiver, and he's doing amazing. And I think against Miami, I think he's going to have a great game. And I think Allen will have, in fantasy points, probably 40 points. I think he'll probably throw 3 touchdowns, and hopefully 2 are to Sanders.
Yeah, there's a big discount when you go from Diggs to Sanders in that lineup, right? Diggs is what in DraftKings, the second highest priced.
Oh yeah, Diggs was ridiculous.
8,100, and then you drop down to Sanders, who's probably mid pack, 5,400. So it's a decent.
Yep.
You're saying here that you think there's some return on value here.
Yeah,
definitely.
investment. And that's what DFS is, right? You're always trying to find the AMC or the what was the other stock that went crazy this year? GameStop, right? You're always trying to find that crazy to the moon player.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to agree here with you, Colin, as you're revealing your DFS lineup to us. I actually have the same stack in our DFS league, that Emmanuel Sanders and Josh Allen. I mean, right now, the Bills are 14-point favorites and almost a 50-point over-under. So there's going to be points. We know that the Bills heavily rely on the pass. Zach Moss, Singletary, pick who you want, but I don't think they're going to be a high fantasy producer in this one. I think it's going to be all Josh Allen and that receiving core. I think Dawson Knox is still out. I think he's still on IR. So you have maybe Cole Beasley, you have Emmanuel Sanders, and you have Diggs. And I think there's going to be a lot of receivers thriving in this matchup.
Yeah, I guess my DFS lineup stack is completely biased this week, guys. You guys have been poking fun of me at the New York Jets, and I'm just going to bet against them from now on. So
I don't blame you.
Yeah, the bias is out. I'm a salty Jets fan. I'm going with the Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase stack against the New York Jets.
Smart.
And
Chase is on fire, though, the last couple weeks.
He's a complete superstar, going to be a top 5 wide receiver draft, I think, moving forward in future years to come. He is amazing. I think him being on, the Bengals drafting him really helped out Joe Burrow's stock as well. I think they're going to do nice and have a great career together as long as they're together. We'll see how long that is because they're both on rookie contracts. But I went with them, and it allowed me to kind of optimize a little bit more of the running back games. So I have some good running backs in there that I think will do some value. But that's my pick. It's more of a biased pick this week, but I think that there's also upside against the New York Jets, who are just a crappy football team.
I think there's a running back that is perfect value and has the perfect upside, and that's Henderson Jr. against Houston.
Yeah.
I bet you everyone
start your running backs against Houston.
Yeah, start anyone against Houston. I think they're playing this game, like I was saying, race to last. I think they're playing this game to make it look like they're trying, but they're really not. And I think they're going to trade Ben Watson, and Deshaun Watson. Ben Watson. Yeah, Ben Watson.
They're trying to.
Yeah, Ben Watson.
They're trying to. Yeah, it's just the legal issues that people are trying to figure out.
I know. And I don't even want to get into that. We're not attorneys, and we don't know the situation. But I don't know. I just think you got to play against Houston. I'm in this betting league that I am in, and we have to pick the spreads and over-unders on 6 games. And I've been trying to think the spreads are so big against Houston that there's some hope that they can cover the spreads. And every week I'm just wrong. So
yeah,
I think
you got Davis Mills there. They just can't do anything offensively. They got rid of Ingram.
Yeah.
Back to the back.
Yeah, they traded Ingram. That's right. He went back to the Saints.
So
yeah, Camaro owners are probably a little shaky in that.
Gosh, they're just freeing up space. They're just gonna try to rebuild.
Yep, that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So asking for a friend here, as we were talking about Emmanuel Sanders, pick 2, Damian Harris, Devonta Booker, Tyler Lockett, Emmanuel Sanders.
What am I? Wait, sorry. What am I picking?
Pick two. Emmanuel Sanders, Tyler Lockett, Devonta Booker, or Damian Harris. Pick 2. Asking for a friend.
Well, I'm taking Sanders. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the safest options here with the floor is Sanders and Booker. That's just me. I mean, you get Booker. In the New York Giants running back system, they usually return some value there. They have a decent floor in that scheme. So and Daniel Jones has been looking pretty good. I mean, just watching him be able to run the ball a bit. I mean, that opens up the running game a little bit more when the quarterback is rushing as much as he did last week. So, I mean, I know what you got to turn back on.
It's been an interesting year with KC, right? Everyone thought KC's this powerhouse. They're going to just roll teams. They have had some high scoring games, but also they've allowed some points. I think
defense isn't great.
Yeah, their defense isn't what it used to be, and then with Mahomes I know he got hurt last week, but
that was scary.
I don't know. I think there could be some upside with Devontae. Yeah, I think I'd agree with Mike.
I was thinking that too, but let me trivia. What team gives up the most? What team gives up the most yards on the as far as most yards on the ground in the NFL to this point this year? Which team?
So the best other way of saying it is, what is the worst defense against the run?
The worst defense against the run. Yeah, gives up the most yards on the ground.
Kansas City.
I would think Houston, but
Houston is the second worst at 145 yards. Number 1, the worst team, the Chargers at almost 163 yards. You got Damian Harris coming in there, who had an awesome game last week. That's why I'm like, man, do I stick with Harris in this one and see if he could get me those yards and maybe a TD?
Are they playing away? They are. Right?
Yeah, they're playing. No, Chargers are.
They're playing in. No, yeah, but so the Patriots are at the Chargers.
Yeah.
You got an East Coast team going out west. You know, I think the Patriots are notoriously a good football team at home. I'm a little worried about it. It's not that I think Harris has a floor. It's very possible. So you know what? In regular redraft leagues, I'm playing them. I'm playing them both. It's solid.
And Wilson's out still, right? Russell Wilson, the lockout.
He's out. We still got Geno Smith in there.
Yeah, even though they're playing Jacksonville, I don't know.
But you're also playing Jacksonville. It's like a bottom 5 passing defense. You could pass.
I don't care, man. I've seen Geno Smith in New York for many years. I'm not buying it.
You're so biased, but
it's true though. I mean, ever since Geno Smith took over in Seattle as the quarterback 1, Lockett's value has gotten crushed. I'm not playing him in anything. And in some of my leagues, I'm struggling. I need wide receivers. I'm not playing Lockett. I'll tell you that.
Okay, so I think asking for a friend, Sean, for that friend, I think we agree. Booker and Sanders.
But it's close between Booker and Harris. It is close. It's not like you could probably have equal returns on those guys, but it's just there's a risk of an East Coast team going out west.
One last question for the show. Do you ever consider in daily paying in DraftKings $9,000 for Cooper Kupp?
I mean, so this is something that I learned last year, and I wrote it throughout the entire year, and I did really well in DFS last year. It hasn't been working out this year for me. I used to pay up for McCaffrey every week.
Right.
Whatever I did, I had to have Christian McCaffrey in my lineup, and he was like 9,000 to 10,000 a week. Maybe he was over 10,000 for most of the year.
Yeah.
So in this instance, Cooper Kupp has been playing out of his mind. He's got that type of upside and safety with points per. Since DraftKings is a PPR league, Kupp has been getting the volume. He's been getting touchdowns. I would pay up. It's okay for me. I think it's a solid move.
Yeah, until proven otherwise, right? I mean, he's on pace for over 1,700 yards and 20 TDs. It's ridiculous.
Stafford is looking like a 25-year-old quarterback.
Yeah, he's looking. I mean, that was the great move for his career to get out of Detroit.
Yeah,
and it was actually really good for Los Angeles to get rid of Jared Goff.
Yeah,
the big winners here is obviously the Rams.
Yeah,
so.
Definitely. Anything else you guys want to hit on? I'll do a quick rundown and then call it a day, huh?
Yeah, I think we're all ready for the Halloween candy.
Yeah, I don't know what holiday you're ready for, but we'll
Halloween candy mixed with some cookies and milk.
Yeah. So again, like we were saying in the beginning, potential impacts. We're gonna watch it. Follow us on Twitter at FFWeatherguys. We had 3 games that we're seeing: Pittsburgh at Cleveland, and San Fran at Chicago with some wind. That could be potential, and then some possible maybe rain, little rain, slight rain,
showers. We call them scattered showers.
Showers at Miami, at Buffalo. But again, most likely not going to be that impactful. If you're going to play anyone on those teams, you're still probably going to play them. And in DFS, I'm going to pay for Josh Allen no matter what lineup I'm doing. So that's what we got this week. Anything else you want to say?
No, I think you wrapped it up nicely there. Again, yeah, just not a lot of weather impacts, contrary to a lot of the weeks this year. But we're wishing everyone out there a fun and safe Halloween.
Yeah, don't go out there and toilet paper your neighborhood, guys. All right, be responsible.
Mike's 35 going on 65.
Yeah. You little kids, get in before the sun sets.
I'm just getting ready for the baby coming up.
That's right. We
put on the dad pants.
We're gonna have a new little fantasy football weather baby.
There it is.
Within 2 weeks.
Can't wait.
Okay. Like always, follow us at FFWeatherguys on all platforms: Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. And thank you. Have a safe, fun Halloween.
See you guys.